Hello, I'm Kris Ripper, and welcome to Ripper's Rambles number 78. Today we're going to talk a little bit about liking problematic things, because this is coming up. This comes up all the time for those of us who look at the things that we enjoy with critical thought processes in place. Though it is tempting, I will say, to simply think I'm just going to enjoy this and I'm not going to think too hard about what it is I'm enjoying or why I'm enjoying it. But I guess I feel that doing that is sort of a position of privilege, and I don't have it with most things. So I'm going to talk a little bit about things that I enjoy that are problematic, and things that I've written that were problematic, and also just in general terms about trying to have conversations with people about when something is very problematic for me that other people really enjoy, which is hard because often people take, X is problematic on Y levels, as sort of a personal attack, which it's not. Well, it can be, but tends to not be. It's just more, if I'm going to have a relationship with someone, I feel that we need to be able to say, this thing that we're talking about is problematic on a few levels without degenerating to, I hate you for liking whatever. Or I hate you for saying that this thing that I like is problematic. I am actually have notes here and links. So there's a couple of things I read sort of all around the same time that set the stage, I think, for this video. So one of them is KJ Charles's How to Like Bad Things, which I will include a link to. It's marvelous because KJ is marvelous, and when she talks, it's very fucking articulately, even about difficult things. So definitely check that out. KJ links to an Esther Wang essay called Watching and Reading About White People Having Sex is My Escape, which is fucking fantastic and just articulates so many things that I really, really appreciate, that aren't necessarily simple or easy to talk about, but I really, really, really like that essay. And last, a video by the pop culture detective called The Adorkable Misogyny of the Big Bang Theory. And I'm a Big Bang Theory fan. But it has long annoyed me that my attempts to discuss the wild, incredible misogyny in that show with other fans lead to a lot of rolled eyes, and you just have to take everything so personally, which, I'm not. I just think it's gross and beneath the level of the writers, essentially. I think they need to be less lazy. So there you have that. So first I'm going to talk about a couple of things that I enjoy that are super, super problematic. Father Brown, that's the new one, the one with Mr. Weasley. I consumed that show when it hit Netflix. I don't know how long it took me to work through however many seasons are on there, or rather however many series are on there, but oh my God, I just destroyed it. And one of the things I really like about it is that, Father Brown is very sort of avuncular and comforting and non-judgmental, and that's awesome, and I really enjoy that. Except when that show talks about queer women. I don't know what the deal is. Queer men, totally okay. Gay guys, totally rad. It's very sweet, their approach to gay male sexuality. Women, though, oh my God, there's 3 queer women, and they're all fucking nutters. They're all sociopaths or murderers or both. There's one of them who seduces her ex-lover's son, her ex-lover's sort of awkward teenage son, and then says horrible things to him about his performance. I mean, just really, really off the hook, horrible representations of queer women. 100% of the queer women portrayed on that show are horrific. And one of the, I think, minefields here is that I want to be able to acknowledge that on some levels, I think representation in that show is really excellent. But that actually makes it hurt more when on other levels it's a complete clusterfuck. Like it is casually cruel about queer women in this way that doesn't make any sense to me and hurts me deeper because they are so good in other ways. Like Midsummer Murders is fucked up about everyone. Like I got no problems with that. That's just a show that I'm going to watch, and then when I top out at being really annoyed with it, I stop watching it for a while. But Father Brown is it's a feel good show, except when it turns the knife in my back. So that's just it's a show that I would love to recommend wholeheartedly, except I can't because it's kind of fucked up. So I recommend it, by saying it's really good, except in its approach to queer women. Also, ending the Father Brown bit there, I kind of have a weakness for whiny white man music, and it's why Esther Wang's article was so awesome to me, because she's talking about sort of curling up with romance novels about white straight people, and how, in a sense, the way that it erases race makes it a more comfortable place for her when she just needs to have a break and not be constantly thinking about all the things she, as a woman of color, thinks about every fucking day. And that's kind of how I feel about whiny white man music. Whiny white man music is just, and I'm not going to name names, I think we all know. There's different kinds of, some whiny white man music is sort of a ballad, and a lot of sort of pop rock stuff is whiny white man music. And there's a level where when I listen to that music, it so doesn't portray my world, the world in which I actually live and struggle every day at all. It's totally self-absorbed, and it's self-absorbed in this very typical kind of straight white guy way. And the struggles in it are, and I don't want to be an asshole, but are, my girl left me, or my band is not as successful as I want it to be. And it's just to me, those are very soothing problems. Which I know sounds totally douchey, because I understand that there's so much feeling going into this music. So much with the feels. But it doesn't exist in my world, these sorts of levels of issues. I exist on a level where I, worry that I'm picking my kid up and I'm appearing too queer and not gender conforming enough, and someone is going to eventually say something that is going to hurt my child or physically hurt one of us, and those problems do not exist in the world of whiny white man music. Man, those problems are not even, it's not even a real thing in the world of whiny white man music, and that is why I find it kind of soothing. It's kind of an escape. But I think it's really problematic because tends to totally just not challenge gender roles at all, or relationship roles at all, and super sort of gross on the level of feeling entitled to certain experiences, professional success and women just wanting to be devoted to you even if they don't. So I find it problematic critically when I'm critically thinking about it. But when I'm having a bad day, it's what I put on my car because it's soothing. So yes, couple of things. I feel like this is probably running incredibly long. I'm very sorry. I did want to say that I am certainly someone who has written things that other people find to be problematic. I've written things that I find to be problematic. The most glaring example of which is most certainly Red and Bad. Like, Bad Campion is a misogynist prick. He's a fat-phobic asshole, and he eroticizes misogyny without any level of really even realizing he's doing it. This is just how he approaches things. And nothing in those two books challenges that assumption that it's perfectly acceptable and in fact not problematic. And I can't say I would write it differently now if I was to write it again. I knew it was problematic when I was writing it. I just thought that everyone would know that it was problematic, and it was so obviously problematic that I didn't really need to call that out. And I have learned in the couple of years since publishing it, that's not true. There are, in fact, people for whom that level of misogyny is so normal that they don't think critically about it when they're reading it. They don't think, wow, this is, you know, crossing a line here. And you can think that and still enjoy a thing. I know that that's problematic, and I'm still glad that I wrote it and glad that I published it and glad that it's out in the world. But man, very problematic. You know, so if you are a big fan of Red and Bad, congratulations, you too like problematic things. So yes, I don't really know how to address the issue of bringing up that things are problematic with other people. Frequently in reader circles, I will have the experience of someone saying, "Oh my God, this book is so wonderful! It changed my life." You know, kind of launching into a thing about a book, and then when I find out what the book is, it ends up being a book that I found deeply, deeply problematic. This is harder for me when it's a trans book or a queer book that I feel like is very cis-normative or heteronormative, because I really want to be able to say, you know, like, I completely honor that you really loved that book, and here are some, you know, reflections on maybe a different perspective on it. But that doesn't really go well, and is I think for most people not welcome. So I talk less in reader circles because I don't want to feel complicit in just saying okay to everything that is fucking problematic. But I do occasionally have the experience of someone saying, "No, you're right. That is absolutely true." And I have been the person who's said, "Yes, you're right. That is very problematic. I still enjoy it, but very, very problematic," which is where I am with The Big Bang Theory. Really like that show. Huge focus on chosen family. I would watch Johnny Galecki do anything because I'm an old Roseanne fan. But like, you cannot, 5 minutes doesn't go by on that program without some fucking misogynistic shit going on. Like, it's incessant. It is completely relentless. So that is part of my experience of it. Part of my experience of watching that show is this is going to kind of nail me on a couple of levels, because I'm not really into casual accepted misogyny, but I'm going to get something else out of it. And I think that's, you know, all you can do. That's what you're getting out of things that you like. But I do think it's important to approach things critically, even when you like them. Not 100% of the time. If you don't want to do that, if you feel like you can't, or you have the option of not, I guess I should try that. But otherwise, I think it's important to know that what we enjoy may be problematic to others, and that's not a bad thing. That's just what this is. That's just what we're all doing here, is having different experiences and different perspectives on the same things. So yes, that is your incredibly long ramble for today. I took notes, y'all. I took notes. I hope that you enjoyed. I will briefly plug Patreon right now because yesterday I did a right dance video for Patreon. So if you subscribe or patronize my Patreon at even the $1 level, you will be able to see me uh, sort of jerking awkwardly around as I write. Which, I don't know, maybe you're into that sort of thing. That's at patreon.com/KrisRipper, and links are probably around somewhere. So yeah, thanks a lot for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.